Art is not, it's not a job. It's a lifestyle. You live art. Even when you're not in the studio, you think about it.
Decided to do an artist in residence program, and you were number one. How'd you feel about that?
First of all, it feels great to be a number one on anything, especially on a very important, residency like this. It's been an honor of my life to, work for the past 4 months on this.
Has it been 4 months?
I kind of lost count.
Doesn't seem like it's been that long to me. But sometimes it feels like years, and sometimes it feels like days, right?
Yes, it's been an amazing experience.
Talk to me a little bit about time and effort and the essence of like that focus and work and what it means to you and what you do. And also obviously in this, because you've put an unbelievable amount of time into this.
Yes. The work like have a very, special place in my heart, very personal. When I was a kid, I'll be going to school in the morning. My grandmother obviously couldn't go to school with us. Whom I grew up with her in Lagos. And so when we're going to school, our way of protecting us is drawing a cross sign on our forehead every single day.
As like a blessing and protect you.
Protection, love, affection.
Could you imagine how much she prayed about you leaving and being protected and coming back every day that you probably never knew?
No. If we have to count the hours, I think we'll run out of hours. She was a very, very, devoted believer, and she believed in, Christianity. And she, even though I'm not a practicing Christian to say, but she raised me with that like sense of God, believing in God and God first with everything I do. And I think this project has that written all over it,
I remember you came to the studio. I was like, I loved this kid right away. I was like, I thought this is this cool guy. And we had all these bags with like old scraps we couldn't even use. And you were like, what are you doing with those? This is garbage. And you're like, can I have it? And once I realized like our trash was your treasure, I was like, all right, this is my kind of guy. I remember then, so we kind of working together. And you came from Houston, and then Harvey hit, the hurricane hit Houston, and you couldn't go home for like 2 weeks. And we were like, roommates, and I that kind of changed everything, really spending some time and getting to know each other.
Right. Yeah. And, something great, came out of that. We did so much talking and understanding the art process and worked on, the most important, design of our lives.
Tell me a little bit about your history and the type of work you do. What led you to using some of these elements in what we've done now with this project?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up in Lagos, when my grandmother is going to the market, she would have like her neighbors to watch me. This particular neighbor, he repairs shoes. So he walks.
He was a Geppetto. He was a cobbler.
Yeah, cobbler, exactly. But we call them shoemakers in Lagos.
Nigerian shoemaker was your babysitter.
Was my babysitter.
It's all making sense now.
Yeah. He works with leather. It would, like just have like fresh, cut leather and dye them and do all those different things to it. As a kid, I was super curious. I see this beautiful material, but I didn't know what to make of it. Fast forward, I came to the States. I was in undergrad, studying. And while I was studying, I applied for a job to work as a gun holster maker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I was applying for the job, I clearly didn't have any experience. I've never, dealt with guns before, and all of those things. But I remember that when I was a kid, I played with leather, and so I was like, well, if nothing, at least that could be an experience. I could just tell them, when I was a kid, I used to smell leather and, play with it. I got the job. started making gun holsters. And so while at the studio working with a business owner, we would, he would cut out the shape of the gun holster, and then the rest of the scrap would be bagged and thrown out. And so one day I had a conversation with him. I was like, "Can I start taking them?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be happy if you can." Like I feel bad about the waste. Anyways, I started collecting those scraps, and for about a year, I didn't know what to do with them. I just stacked them in my studio, uh, and eventually I started playing with them, and they became the material that I use.
Look at these things. Can you believe this crazy stuff we made?
Yeah, no, these are amazing. When I first saw this, you know, I could not imagine them being, made like this. And I remember we were during the design process, we were going back and forth. And one of the biggest challenge we had was the connection. And like you were telling me then that, yeah, the connection has to be there, but we don't know how to because it's just a thread. And if you put thread between this design, it doesn't show. It's too. So we were like, we're just gonna put a streak. And I've never like thought about how significant just putting a line between those, pieces, how significant that is. And when I saw the first, render, I was like, wow, that's the way to go. That's a great idea. Because without that connection, you don't understand the work. I think what makes the work amazing was the fact that you can tell that, all the pieces are connected to one another. Till today, it's still my, process. It's like, bringing together like random shapes and
Right.
elements and, connecting them, making them, feel like they, one another. And I think elements helped a lot in terms of, you know, looking at the work as a process rather than, making art and making, continuous production of work. Now this is a process that I can look back at and say, okay, well, I did that in there and I can translate it this way.
What do you want to name this collection?
You know, uh, to put it simply, Sunday best. On Sundays, it's when you lay down your brushes, lay down, your hammers, lay down your tools, clean up, and, you know, go pay honor to God. The collection is that. Collection is paying homage to, you know, I mean, not just my grandmother. And if she had the opportunity to hear me say it, she would be like, "Why are you doing it for me? Do it for God," you know. And so that's paying homage to God. But I hope like collectors can connect to this work in many ways. One, I think art is meant to inspire, to make you feel, you know, make you think about, the same thing that you've always been thinking about differently. So I hope this work, does that for a lot of collectors. I hope they can see it and feel inspired. And secondly, I hope it strengthen, their faith. I hope it helps them, connect to God, whatever that is to them. It doesn't have to be the Christian God or, any other God, but I hope it helps them connect to God. And thirdly, I hope they have the same opportunity and privilege that I have. to share them with the world. If collectors buy them, I hope they can, let others see them and not, lock them away.
The symbolism of the rolling away of the stone, the resurrection, the joy, the meaningfulness of like second chances.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much there. I think it's just really inspiring work to me for a lot of reasons. Hope is that people that collect it see it for all that it is, not just what they may assume it's intended.
Right. That's my hope as well.
Sunday best?
Sunday best.